All right, so this is Canvas. This is IT 201. We do meet here. This is GITC 3200. This is the Mixer Lab. That's like the Hangout room. This is the teaching. That's Research Lab. You can also come on to this class in WebEx. This is the link right here. So attendance can be live, can be on WebEx, and attendance is optional. I don't take attendance. The basic structure of the class is this are for junior IT students, freshmen, sophomore usually. I do get some DD students in to fulfill some electives. I do get some CS students in to fulfill some electives, but it's meant for IT students who are primarily networking, management, security. We do have game dev and AR, VR. I'm from the game dev side. I do augmented and virtual reality. Game dev and AR, VR, we use Unity, C#. C# is very similar to Java. Hello. And this class is meant to be an introduction to UX design, user experience, software design, software development. Think of like a full software lifecycle, from what are we building and why to how are we doing it. It's all like foundations. It's like a survey class. We do use C#. It's very similar to Java. You could think of it like an intro to like the CS100 level classes. Like I introduce all the topics, and we're like, how do we think about diagramming our features before we build them? And let's build like small little features. We're just building a painting app for the entire semester, and we just kind of grow it. We think about it, we design some features, we program it, and we keep growing it and iterating, fixing bugs, and making it a better experience for the user. And we're going to use the Unity engine. It's a game engine, and we're going to build a 3D painting app. I'll show it off later on. We don't actually start coding right away. The first few weeks is kind of like, let's talk about what Unity is. Let's talk about Visual Studio. Let's talk about the diagramming tool. Let's talk about how you think about the user and start to plan out or design before you actually build the software. There's a common misconception, I think, maybe with IT, where you could still like get a technical degree. You could still go after technical jobs, but you don't have to program. So it's like, oh, I can get good job opportunities without having to do something I don't like. But that's not true. You're not going to have to be a full-on programmer, but you do need to get exposed to programming and, more importantly, what the industry is like, what building software from end to end is like. And even if it's just useful for you to get through the 400 level classes, you will take quite a few web dev classes in IT, and you're going to hit a full stack development class at the end of your cycle, and you'll have a really bad experience if you don't have some comfort level with programming. And I can tell you from my own experiences that you'll do much better off in the job market if you at least understand some basics to software design and development. And we're trying to make it fun. It's in a game engine. It's using a high-level programming language. I introduce everything first. I do it first. I build, and then you build later. It is a project-based class, active learning. You don't learn these skill sets by passive lecture. Yes, I do sit here and I lecture, but it's mostly I build the software as I'm doing it, and I introduce topics to you. And I record myself, and then you have to go and do it yourself. So it's a hybrid class. I do first, and then you follow the videos. So I usually lecture for about 40 minutes to an hour, and it then takes you like 4 hours outside class to go through and do what I did. You're going to watch the videos and watch me and build this app, and then you're going to pause it like every 20 seconds or 30 seconds, and you're going to do. And that's how you're going to absorb the material. And then you come back to class if you have any questions from that week, and we can cover them, and we move on to the next week. One of the big reasons I'm redoing the videos is yes, this is a project-based class, and I used to actually have the students um, compile the project and put it up on a web hosting service and return it back to me as a project deliverable. But we had a lot of issues at that part, so majority of the class then became like troubleshooting projects why they're not running online, and that wasn't the core learning material. So it's me building something, you following right behind me, and then we take quizzes. So the class is broken up into 4 major sections. Each section is 4 weeks. It's 3 weeks of learning and then a week of a quiz, and then we repeat. So down here we have section 1, and I have the lecture videos broken out. Yes, they're the old ones, and as I'm creating these videos, each like hour-long video will be broken up into multiple videos, so it'll be easier to absorb. But you can see here, section 1, lecture 1, we're going to talk about diagramming this week, and it says complete in week 1. So I'm going to do it. Right now I'm teaching about the structure of the class, then I'm going to talk about some UX principles of cognitive walkthroughs and diagramming, and in particular user flow diagrams. Then I'm going to show you some software, Unity, Visual Studio. We're not going to use it. We're just going to install it, and I'm going to talk about showing you what the project looks like. And that'll be it for the week. And then you go home, and sometime before next Friday, you're going to spend quite a few hours just watching the videos and do what I do. You're going to learn about diagramming this week. And then we're going to come back on Friday, and we do the material that's in this week. We'll start to use Unity, start to code lightly. And then week 3, and we'll complete a small part of the painting app, which I'll show you in a minute. And then we come back and do a quiz. And so that's 3 weeks of learning, 1 week of quiz. And then we repeat that cycle for section 2. Here we come back. We got a week of material, 2 weeks of material, 3 weeks of material, and then a week to take a quiz. And then section 3, same thing, 3 weeks of material and a quiz. This happens to fall on Thanksgiving week, whatever. It's a Wednesday class to a Friday. And then 3 weeks of material, and then a last quiz. Now, the quizzes are online. You just take them with a regular web browser. I use Chrome. There's no proctoring. Just take it at home. It's about 12 to 15 multiple choice questions. It's directly from what I'm teaching. So for this first section, I'm teaching you diagrams. I'm teaching you user experience design. I'm teaching you the basics of how to use the Unity editor, how to use Visual Studio, and some very basic coding in C#. From what I taught you, the questions will be right from that. So you listen to me and you do the videos. Very important to spend your own time building the project. You will not give the project to me. You will use it to learn the skills of software design and development, which you then take a quiz. Then in section 2, we just keep building the app. We grow it more. We build a better user interface. We build more features. Same thing for section 3 and 4. And then at the end of the 3 months, we have a nice functioning painting app. Each quiz is 12 to 15 questions, multiple choice. Each question might take you just a few minutes. It's not meant to be scary. It's not meant to be like a time crunch situation. If you spend the amount of time each week with the material, spend your 3-4 hours every week, just be regular, just walk in, take the quiz, and walk out. I have some people just walk in, take the quiz in 20 minutes, walk out. Some people need more time, 40 minutes, 60 minutes. It maxes out at 80 minutes, an hour and 20 minutes. And if you need all the time, that's fine. I am a little bit lenient with the quiz. It's online. You stay home. You don't need to come in here. So it's like lecture, lecture, lecture. Stay home and take the quiz. You live at home with your parents, or you live in a dorm, or you want a quiet space. Just find a space and take the quiz. The quiz is usually, I'm thinking with the time here, you can see it says like available plus minus 1 day. So the designated time, the preferred time to take the quiz is on that class period. You happen to be the 1 o'clock class on Friday, but the quiz opens up at the beginning of Thursday and it closes at the end of Saturday, the end being midnight. So use your time well. You want to go early, go for it. You need some extra study time, take an extra day. Just know that there's a window of time that the online Canvas quiz is open, and at the end of that time window, it closes. Then you're done. Come back to class next week, and we'll start the next section. All right. So that gives you some responsibility. I'm lenient with it. I'll notify you when the quizzes are coming. And you'll know that the notices will appear in Canvas, and you can just take it during regular scheduled class time at home. And again, you have some wiggle room with the time. And if you need to contact me, I'll be on WebEx. If you need to contact me outside class, I'm really responsive with email. We can set up a one-on-one meeting. Need some extra office help, what have you. If you're not able to take the quiz during that time, something urgent happens with you or your family, get a note from the dean of students. So since I am, lenient with this time, when that quiz closes, it closes, and you can't take it. So if you did have an emergency, go to the dean of students, have them contact me. Questions are pulled from a random bank of questions I have. So you start the quiz whenever you click start quiz, that countdown starts 120 minutes. It just starts counting. It'll pull you some random block of questions, and you have your quiz. If you need additional assistance through CCAPs, work with them. They send me a letter if somebody needs additional time. In addition to the 120 minutes, I need that letter from CCAPs, and I can edit your settings. But the general rule of the quiz is the same. When you're ready, within that time window, you click start and run it. But if you do wait till like Saturday night at 11:30, if you click start, you'll only have 30 minutes because the quiz closes at midnight. So I would just take it during the regularly scheduled time. In the past, students have issues, and I know that like as classes schedule their quizzes, sometimes you have like a lot going on at 1 week. So here's your allotted time. Make the best of it. But when the quiz closes, it closes. All right, 4 quizzes, 25 points each, 4 sections to the class. It's all the same thing. Let's talk about software design and development, building this painting app. It just gets more complicated along the way. But there's no skill sets necessary to start the class off. All right, any questions so far? Yeah.
So, from what I understand, there's no midterm or final, just the quizzes?
No, whatever we learned that week. So the knowledge kind of builds. It's all cumulative. You just get better and stronger. You learn more advanced programming concepts. You learn more advanced design. You're using the game engine in stronger ways. So whatever you learn for that section, that would be the quiz. Yeah, no midterm, no finals. Just section 1. Here's section 2. Notice the date of the quizzes. Here's section 3. We don't have like a spring break or anything, but we do have the Thanksgiving week, and so the dates get a little weird. Our quiz will be on that Wednesday. Since it is like kind of like a holiday week, I think I buffered out the time window during that week a little bit more, so that if you do choose it over Thanksgiving, that's fine, but you're going to go away, you might forget about it, and the quiz might close. If I were you, I would just take it during the designated time. And section 4. Now this runs into finals week, so we do have class here. We do have class on this first week. We do have class on this second week, and then this third week is reading week. So we don't have class, but you'll still be responsible for this material. The videos will be up. And then we have this, somebody just joined. Then we have the last quiz. And since that quiz is during finals week, I open it up for the whole week. That's why it says plus minus 3 days. So it's like weekend to weekend, whatever it is, I don't know. Saturday to Friday or Sunday to Friday. You click on the quiz, it'll show you the details. And Canvas gives you like notifications when stuff's coming up. So even though this quiz is open longer, it's during finals week, it's still, the material is still just on section 4, and it's still length, the same number of questions, like 12 to 15, and same length of time, 120 minutes. All right. You will get a notice from the university, like, oh, here's your scheduled finals time, but we don't, you just take this online. You could just ignore that. All right, does that sound good? So 25% for 4 quizzes, right? 100% grade. And whenever the quizzes happen, it's on the class time, but there's some wiggle room, and you can just take it at home. All right. So all these links go to YouTube videos. These are the lecture videos, and I'm in the process of replacing them. Material is exactly the same, just new version of Unity, and I'm breaking up the material so it's simpler, shorter videos. Here's the link to download Unity. You can use the personal or the student version. They're both free. They do the same thing. Here's Unity. It's free to learn. When you install Unity, Visual Studio will be installed as well. You don't need to log into Visual Studio. You'll get the Visual Studio Community Edition, and it just connects with Unity. Unity is like the GUI version of building the app. There's a lot of like visual and elements that come together. And then whenever you create a coding file, a C# file, and you double click it, it's going to open in Visual Studio, which is a text editor, and it's a good programming environment. So you build the app in Unity, and you write your C# code in Visual Studio. There's only one other small piece of software you will need to learn. That's a diagramming tool, which I'll be covering today. Those are the only 3 software. They're all free. When you download and install Unity, it should install Visual Studio along for the ride. A few you, for whatever reason, sometimes the computer doesn't do it right. And you can just come see me, and you can install Visual Studio separately, and there's just a little connection linking that's needed with Unity and Visual Studio. And the reason for that is then you get IntelliSense, and it helps you out with writing your code, which is highly beneficial. So you should set it up. Basically, this README here is 2 paragraphs, and it outlines what it is I'm saying right now, just everything I'm explaining about the class. It is a project-based class. It's active learning. And in this version of the videos, I do talk about how like you're supposed to submit the project like this and that, and just you ignore that part because you don't submit the project anymore. It makes way too much issues. You follow along with me, build the project yourself, because that's the only way you learn the material, then take the quiz. And you can't jam in all 3 weeks of learning in that last week. It's like your mind can't just absorb it all that quickly. Take your time with it. I'm going to talk for a class, and then it's going to take you about 4 hours to process, to watch the videos, pause them, build the project. And you'll understand the concepts, and the quiz will be a breeze to you. It's not meant to trip you up. It's just meant to be like, if you did the work spread out over the 3 weeks, that 4th week should be an easy assessment for you. And I built the website for the class. It lays out all the same material. But it might be like, it's a different way. It might make more sense to you. You might like it. Anyway, so the whole class is just part 1. 3D Dev, and there's Sprint 1, 2, 3, 4. These are like the details of each part of the class. And here's the working builds. You can go to there. They're hosted on itch.io. It's just a website that hosts gaming projects. Here's the actual code base on GitHub. Here's the YouTube lecture series, which I'll be updating. And course description. And here's the 4 main sprints. And so you're going to learn about these user flow diagrams in the next part, which I'll probably be pausing, stopping this video shortly. But I'll cover these and what the project looks like. And then this will make more sense, these features that we're going to be building. And then if you click on each of these sprints here, this will just goes into more in depth of what the material that is covered in for each week, along with the video links. Okay, so is there any questions on just the general structure of the class? What's expected of you? What's going to happen these next 3 months?